WNYathletics.com. I'm Frank Wolf with my buddy Tom Prince, our baseball guy. We haven't done this show in seems like months, but we're back at it again today. We're going to get a little bit of baseball in our bloods.
Well, we got to catch up. We got some conferences we promised that we were going to give some love to, and it's time to give them some love.
Yeah. Just a few weeks ago, Tom was on WGR on Inside High School Sports with us, and, you only get an hour there, so a lot of teams were left hanging. But, we haven't really had the weather, so there haven't been too many games since that Saturday. And got a lot of catching up to do. I heard they're going to go maybe practice 7 days a week, or
they're going to have to do something. Yeah. And we've seen in the past they have gone to Sunday games before. We're probably going to see a little bit of that even come into play. But what's going to happen is the most trying thing that you're going to see is these pitching staffs. I mean, if you're not 6, 7 pitchers deep, you're never going to be able to make it through this part of the season. Yeah. Because you're going to be talking about playing 6 days a week and possibly even playing some double headers out there. You've got to have the pitching staff ready to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, no doubt about it. We left off with probably Class AA. I don't think we didn't get to NFL, we didn't get to the Niagara Orleans, the Independence, or Monsignor Martin. So we are going to get you caught up with that in just a bit. Just a word, thanks to our sponsors, St. Joe's Collegiate, Canisius High School, St. Francis, those 3 private schools. We appreciate your support very much. The North End Bar and Grill, we just filmed a commercial for them. We had lunch there earlier today.
Saw that. Great job.
Yeah, great people over there, great food, great location. West Girard and Elmwood, the North End Bar and Grill. And then Cipriano Realtors and Gugino Insurance. Thanks to them for all your support of high school athletics. We greatly appreciate it. And it gives us an opportunity to do what we love to do. So why don't we start off with Niagara? Actually, you know what I wanted to ask you about? There was something on, was it the USA Today reported a high school game. The score was 82-0. Did you read that?
Yeah.
See that?
I saw it was a Massachusetts team, 82-0 they said, and the coach said he's sick to his stomach over it. I mean, at one point you've got to figure out, by putting a kid in there to pitch that will never get a chance to pitch in a game. There's things that you got to start looking at. I mean, 82-0. We complain about football scores that get like that out of hand.
Yeah.
A baseball score?
I was trying to put that in football terms. 82-0 baseball. That's got to be like 1,000-0 in football. If you really think about it. I mean, 82 runs. That's 82 times. Yeah. 82 kids went home. 12 runs in the first. They followed up with a 20-run second. And, I mean, it's just ugly. And you hate to see a team lose like that. But, I've been on the losing end of some baseball games in town league ball. But God bless the 10-run limit after 5 innings.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there really isn't always.
New York State's instituted that rule, the 10-run.
Yeah.
You don't have to call. But this was 30 runs after 2 innings.
Yeah, and sometimes you just can't stop the bleeding, especially if your numbers are low. I mean, maybe that team that scored 82 runs, they may only have half a dozen, a dozen or 2 players, if that. 13 players, you can't stop. I mean, you can't tell a kid to not go up to bat and just stand there.
Right.
You want him swinging the bat, play some defense. But my guy, I think I would have sent everybody out to the outfield. Just pitcher, catcher, and maybe a guy in second or short.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been a part of teams where it's been a big gap in scores. I go base to base. I do one at a time. I mean, if they hit the gap, it's still going base to base. At that point he's still got his hit. He still made it to the base, right? I'm not going to give you anything extra for the double. If he hits one out, he still hits one out. What are you going to do, right? Yeah. But ultimately that's probably what I do to try to cut down the score a little bit. Then you're talking about at least is you're going to have coverage where they can get it out at any base, make it a little bit easier so you can kind of get through that game.
That was rough. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of angry parents writing to the local newspaper. But without further ado, Tom, bring us up to speed on the NFL. Who are the teams to watch there? So, Tom, I'm a Kenmore West graduate. I'm very interested to hear how my Ken West Blue Devils are going to do this season. Why don't you talk about a little bit about the NFL?
Okay. Let's start with Ken West then. Since you asked that, you're talking about one of the top returners in Western New York that's coming back there, and Dom Schmidt. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a 4-0 record last year, a 1.5 ERA. a third-team returner that I named last year. He is going to be somebody that could carry that team, especially when you're talking about on the mound, what he's capable of doing. He's already gone the stretch against, I think it was Grand Island this year, and it's in a very close game. He's going to keep Ken West in some big games.
Yeah.
Then you add Zach LaPlante, Owen Green, and Andrew Franz to the mix. They're always going to be a tough team that's going to be out there. I'll tell you the sleeper who I probably would have picked as a sleeper early on the year, but watch out. They've come out of the gates ready to prove. Grand Island. Grand Island will be there in the mix, and they've already proved it early on. And the first name that you're going to probably recognize from the football world is Cam Cianco. You see he's done very well in football. And then you're going to add to the mix Art Meany and Colby Mugley, a great core up there in Grand Island. They've already started doing some damage. They've already kicked off the season at 2-0.
They have some big hitters there, too.
Grand Island's proved very big hitting, big pitching. They've done it all so far. You've already beaten Niagara Falls in a game. You've shown that you're ready to play. I mean, they're going to be a real tough team to beat out there. Watch out. Grand Island could be the team that comes out of this.
Okay.
But then you've got, you've also got Ken East that comes here. We got to throw out to Coach Simon, right? A heads up. He's always been a big part of the show. Yep. You're talking about Ken East. He's saying he's young, but again, is somebody who can age very quickly. So you're talking about Mario Ruggiero, Vince Ledestro, and Don Spores. Or Dan Spores, I apologize, would be probably the core you're going to see coming back from there. I also got the chance down in Florida to see Niagara Wheatfield.
Okay.
He's got a pitching staff. He's got 2 young lefties, which I saw throw, which are going to give teams some fits out there. Niagara Wheatfield's going to be in the mix in this thing, especially as those young pitchers get some experience and really get into the mix.
Anyone that come to mind?
He's got, and again, I apologize, I don't have all his lefty pitchers that were out there, but he's got also a big commit already this year. He's got James Filippelli, who's actually committed to go to Mercyhurst. So you're talking about a Division II athlete right there that's going to come right out of the mix to represent Niagara Wheatfield. Add in Ethan Guthrie, Kyle Stenzel, and Billy Sculilian. I think is how you say it. I apologize. I'm going to butcher some names. I apologize, so bear with me on it. But you can see Niagara Wheatfield's going to be in the play here. Niagara Falls, 100% will be there. You know that. They're always tough. Yeah. Anthony Kinney's already committed to SUNY Fredonia. Brian Hutchinson already committed to Hilbert. You've seen Trevor Genesee, 9 strikeouts in a game already this season that we saw. Jason Walker, Anthony Cody, Dominic Gersitiano is going to be the core there coming out of Niagara Falls. Wow. Don't count them out. I'm going to tell you they can hit, they can pitch. Trevor's already proved that in. They're going to be in the game.
Who's the kid going to Hilbert?
Brian Hutchinson.
Okay.
And then Newport. Newport's another tough team there. This is going to be a tough conference to come out of. Matt Carden already committed to NCCC. Boy, does he got a class coming in at NCCC. I said that on the show the other day, but he has got a phenomenal class coming in. Shane Kowalski, Cooper Krychek, Anthony Dragone, and Lucas Rout will round out everything that's coming out from Newport there. And then lastly, you've got the Charter School for Applied Tech, Connor Spinda, Shoquan James, Christian Cabrera, and Jero Santos, along with Elijah Meckenberg, is going to be the core of players coming out of there.
My favorite player on that team is Martin Del Moro.
Oh, yeah?
Remember that name. My buddy Marty, he played town ball with us. Real good kid. Real nice guy. Martin Del Moro, I believe his last name is. I always butcher the poor kid's last name. But they got a great coach there.
No doubt. And that's the thing, as you see, is he just, I don't know if he's as deep as some of these other teams are this year. And then don't forget, you've also got North Tonawanda in the mix. Brand new coach over there in John Liberti. Yep. Max Jeswald, Nick Cook, Kyle Toth, and Dylan Normandin will be the core for North Tonawanda.
And the NT kid, you mentioned Kyle Toth's name. I coached him for a few years. And his brother Brian, I heard, just got the call up as a catcher.
Oh, great.
He's just a sophomore. But those two kids, Kyle and Brian Toth, they are going to come to practice every day and work as hard as any 2 kids you'll ever see. And they're very coachable. and hopefully the other kids follow their lead, because if they do, and they prepare as well as these two kids do each and every day, NT could be a really tough team.
Yeah,
down the stretch.
They definitely have the basic kids that are there. They've always got a good program.
Sure.
You're talking about also where I always look at the feeder programs that come in, right? You're talking about in North Tonawanda, got a phenomenal Little League program there in NT Little League. You've got NT Babe Ruth there. You've got tons of feeder programs that are coming into that. To know the talent is there, it's just actually got, bringing it out. I think they're coming off a rough year. I'm not sure that they'll make the turnaround this year, but you're already talking about the youth there.
Yeah.
And then also don't forget about Lockport. Lockport's another one that's there. Sean McKinney, Andrew Galt, Colin Koblansky, and Alex Drake are going to be the core that's going to be there. Again, I think another young team that we're going to see from Lockport there. I really think the teams that you're going to need to look at here will be Newport, Niagara, Wheatfield, both Ken East, Ken West, and then Grand Island.
Because the season's going to be shortened to some degree, they're going to throw a lot of games with not a lot of days of rest. In the NFL, what team has the deepest pitching in your estimation, would you say?
Well, I'm going to tell you, for Niagara Wheatfield, that's what I think is going to be their strength. I watched them tote out 4 different kids that could really pitch there.
Okay.
Right? Grand Island's off to a fast start.
Yeah.
Niagara Falls has got 6 games in already, though.
Yeah.
So is Niagara Falls going to be able to keep some of that pitching staff intact because they're getting their games in?
Sure.
Right? And then you're talking about with Niagara Falls, they're out to a 2-2 record in conference, 4-2 overall. Can they hold serve to be able to get some of those games when the rest of the teams are gonna play 5 in a week? Could Niagara Falls be holding serve and be able to keep those pitching staff intact?
Be very interesting.
Yep.
Extremely interesting. All right, Niagara Orleans.
I'm going to tell you, there's been some positive things coming out of Niagara Orleans, right?
About Wilson and those schools up there.
Well, Wilson, you already know, has got an unbelievable stud coming back, right? You're talking about a kid that had to be in the mix for Player of the Year there last year.
Easily.
If it wasn't for you talking about, you had, a kid from Lancaster and that was just going to be unbelievable. But here you're talking about John Bender, 1.69 ERA in 49 innings, threw a perfect game last year, 585 batting average, first team returner, and he'll be going to Gannon University. Will lead the way for Wilson. Now you're also talking about a transfer, Ian Evans, off to Elon University. He has been already shown as a top pitcher in this area.
Wow.
So now you add Bender and Evans to the mix. Wow, watch out. And then Tanner Feely and Jackson Rotella will round out the people you want to recognize right now for Wilson. But I'm going to tell you, I have a feeling there's a team that may be even stronger than Wilson. Watch out. Roy Hart will be in the mix here. Okay?
They're off to a pretty decent start.
Decent start. In fact, had a tie game with Wilson is where it was. They left it off on. Brand new coach, though, Mike Tarnowski, that was over there. But the brothers are who you got to watch out for, the Brunning brothers, no doubt about it. Jake Brunning already committed to Niagara University. Charlie Brunning last year, no-hitter, 1.80 in 35 innings, a third-team returner for me this year. Has already hit a home run, is already off to the start, already thrown great innings. I'm telling you, this is going to be an unbelievable team to watch out for. Ben Schwab's off to Wells College. Alex Zapsos is off to Seton Hall. An honorable mention returner from last year also. Great bat that was there from last year. You're talking that they are going to be a really tough team. I think there's going to be no doubt it's going to come down to those two teams right now. But there'll be other teams that you're going to see that are going to be in the mix. I'll tell you that. Watch out. You've already seen Medina do some positive stuff, right? Chris Goyette threw a no-hitter, also had 3 hits with 6 RBIs in a game. He's been recognized already as a top pitcher in the area. Yeah. He's already been recognized by PBR New York as the Player of the Week. And that was for all of New York State. Wow. So you're seeing is unbelievable what we're seeing off to the start. Brett Reimer, an honorable mention returner from last year's there. Alex Alice, Brian Fry, another big name. Nate Sherman, Trevor Luthart. Again, Medina's going to be in the mix here. Okay. I just don't know yet if they have the power to go with the 2 that are up above. But I'm going to tell you, they're going to give it a shot, and they're going to be right there in the mix. You got Akron, Jacob Cummings, Brandon Orr, Derek Holtz already committed to be Medaille College, Jacob Cummings, and Brandon Murdy. And I saw Derek's already pitched a great game out there and has been recognized so far early on. Akron's also off to a 1-0 start, 2-0 already overall. So they will have a good team that will be representing. Albion, Bruce Pritchard, Vincent Zona, Harrison Brown, Thomas Furmancic, Liam Ward, and Addison Christ will be who's going to represent Albion.
Bryce Pitchard.
Yes, Bryce.
Pritchard.
I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. It is Bryce, yep.
Yeah.
2-0 already to start out.
Nice.
So you're talking about also off to a fast start. I'm telling you, this is a good conference. It really is.
Sounds like it.
Barker, Colin Webb, Preston Harris, Austin Sullivan, and Evan Ecker, who's off to Wells College.
Oh.
Newfane, Garrett Srock, Matt DiTulio, David Bunn, Kyle Zurich, and Max Weber will round out Newfane. Again, I think this is going to be a solid conference. I think right now, watch out though, Wilson and Royhart are going to be off to the races with Medina saying, I want to be in this. And Will Goyette be able to pitch a game that could shut one of those guys down. He did pitch a phenomenal game, I know, against them. I think it was towards the end after he came out is when they kind of, Royhart took the lead. But you're going to see, again, another great division.
As long as he doesn't get burned out with all these games getting thrown in.
Well, it's forget burned out. You have to sit the amount of games anyway.
Yeah. Well,
so it's pitch counts, you remember. So if he pitches a complete game and throws 85 pitches, 90 pitches, he's sitting for 4 days anyway.
Right.
So it really doesn't matter. It's going to depend more on the back end of the staff.
Okay.
Except for until you get to the playoffs. Once you get to the playoffs, then it's going to become head-to-head. If I match up with Royhart or Wilson or somebody, do I have the stuff that day where I shut them down and I advance because of the pitching?
We'll see.
And that's exactly what it
Time
is,
will tell.
right? So
that covers our Niagara Orleans.
yeah, Niagara Orleans is all set, and then now we're going to go, before we go to the one that everyone I'm sure has been waiting for with Monsignor Martin, right? I do want to cover the independent team.
Why don't we do this? Before you come to your independent, why don't we break for a commercial real quick, and we'll come back on WNY Athletics High School Sports Weekly.
Perfect.